outbound is given. Fuel flow outbound, that is fuel consumption rate while going out to the point of no return is given. Ground speed homebound is given. Fuel flow consumption back home is given. Total endurance and reserves required are given. What is the distance and time to the point of safe return from departure? Now remember, in ordinary simple point of no return sums, we have only one fuel consumption given. Now in this is the type 2 sum. In this kind of sums, you will have two different fuel consumption rates given to you. And you will have to use a different formula in this case to find distance to PNR. Now the normal distance to PNR formula is distance to PNR equals to endurance into outbound speed into homebound divided by outbound plus homebound. But in questions like this, you're going to use the formula distance to PNR equals to uh, usable fuel divided by fuel consumption outbound plus fuel consumption homebound. Fuel consumption outbound plus fuel consumption homebound. Now, fuel consumption outbound is nothing but how much fuel you consume every 1 nautical miles. How much fuel do you require to travel 1 nautical mile? So, fuel consumption per nautical miles. Okay. And similarly, fuel consumption homebound means how much fuel do you require traveling every 1 nautical mile. So the formula for that is fuel consumption homebound or fuel consumption outbound is equal to your fuel flow fuel flow divided by ground speed. Fuel flow divided by ground speed. So let's find out. Fuel consumption outbound equals to ground fuel flow or fuel consumption outbound divided by ground speed outbound. So consumption outbound, that is specific fuel consumption we say, is how much? Fuel consumption outbound, fuel consumption rate while going out is 2800 kilograms per hour. Ground speed outbound is 400 knots, that is 400 nautical miles per hour. So fuel consumption outbound will be 2800 divided by 400, that is 7 kilogram per nautical mile. So to travel 1 nautical mile outbound, you require 7 kilogram fuel. This is step 1. Now step 2. Fuel consumption homebound. Fuel consumption homebound equals to fuel consumption home divided by ground speed homebound divided by ground speed homebound. Right? So fuel consumption homebound will be fuel consumption coming back home was 2500 kilogram per hour. What was ground speed homebound? Ground speed homebound is 450 knots. 450 nautical mile per hour. So specific fuel consumption is 2500 divided by 450. That is 5.5 kilograms of fuel you require every 1 nautical mile. Correct? Next, step number 3. Step number 3 is distance to PNR equals to usable fuel divided by fuel consumption outbound plus consumption homebound. So what is usable fuel? Total endurance is 15,000. Reserves is 3,000. So out of 15,000, we have to subtract 3,000 because reserve fuel we cannot use. So usable fuel is 15,000 minus 3,000, that is 12,000. So 12,000 divided by consumption outbound 7, consumption homebound 5.5. So 12,000 divided by 12.5, that is 960 nautical miles. So correct answer is 960. The closest here is 955. The closest here is 955. Let's find time to PNR. That is distance to PNR divided by outbound speed. So 960 divided by outbound speed is 400. 2 hours 24 minutes. So closest option is option C. Next. Again, total fuel available is 16,000. Reserves 1,500. So that means useful fuel or usable fuel is equal to total fuel 16,000 minus reserves 1,500. So useful fuel is 16,000 minus 1,500, that is 14,500. Now, total distance departure to destination 2050. Fuel required is 11,500 to go from starting to the ending points 11,500, and coming back from destination back to departure the same distance 2050 nautical miles. Coming back you require 10,200 kg fuel. So step 1, let's find fuel consumption outbound. Fuel consumption outbound. So that is fuel required to go outbound divided by total distance. So fuel required outbound is 11,500. Total distance is 2050. So fuel consumption outbound is 11,500 divided by 2050, that is 5.6. You require 5.6 kg fuel to travel every nautical mile. Okay, to travel per 1 nautical mile. Step 2, let's find out fuel consumption required to come back home. That means fuel required to come back home divided by total distance coming back home. So you require how much fuel to come back? You require 10,200. Distance same 2050. So 10,200 divided by 2050 is 4.97, approximately 5 kilograms fuel required every nautical mile. Step 3, distance to PNR is equal to usable fuel divided by consumption outbound divided by consumption homebound. So usable fuel is 14,500 divided by consumption outbound 5.6, consumption homebound 5. So distance to PNR is 14,500 divided by 10.6, which is 1368 nautical miles. 1368 nautical miles. So the closest option here is option alpha. Simple. Next, question number 8. True airspeed, winds given, distance given, course is given, fuel flow out, fuel flow, home given. Total fuel available, reserves required is also given to you, right? So again, what is the distance and time? Okay, so let's first find ground speed. What is ground speed? Ground speed is task, winds and course using CX3. So task is 480, course is 200, winds 330 at 80. So ground speed will be 527 knots. Now step 1, again, fuel consumption outbound is equal to your fuel consumption rate outbound divided by distance. Consumption rate outbound is 2850 kilogram per hour. Or you can just divide it by ground speed also. Okay, we will divide it by ground speed. Ground speed we have found 527. So 2850 divided by 527 is 5.4 kilogram fuel every nautical mile. Next, consumption homebound equals to fuel consumption divided by ground speed. So coming back home, you have a fuel consumption 2680 kilogram per hour. Ground speed is same. Now ground speed will change. Coming back home, your ground speed will change. So this is outbound speed. Now coming homebound, you will have to use same formula, same values. Task 480, wind same. Course will change. Coming back home, you will apply a reciprocal heading, reciprocal track. So that is, you will apply a heading of 200 minus 180, that is 020. So let's make that correction. Task 480, track 20. So coming home, back home, your ground speed is 424.6 or 425 knots. Let's write down here. 2680 divided by 425, 6.3 kilogram per nautical miles. Now distance to PNR will be equal to usable fuel divided by consumption outbound divided plus consumption homebound. So usable fuel, total fuel is 12,000. Reserves are 2,000. So usable fuel will be total minus reserve, that is 10,000 kg. So 10,000 divided by 5.4 plus 6.3. So 10,000 divided by 5.4 plus 6.3, 11.7. Distance to PNR is 10,000 divided by 11.7, 855 nautical miles. So the only option, there are two options, Bravo and Charlie. Now we will find time to PNR. Time to PNR will be distance divided by outbound speed. So 855 divided by outbound speed 527. It is 1 hour 37 minutes. So option delta. 855 miles, 1 hour 37 minutes. So this concludes our lecture. Very important, very simple questions. Just understand the concept, and I have shown you how to do this type of questions. I wish you all the best. Please share this video with your friends. They will definitely find it very useful. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and hit the like button if you have liked this video lecture. Best of luck.